My name is Dimebot, and this is War for the Overworld. This is the spiritual successor to Dungeon Keeper 1, Dungeon Keeper 2, but not that monstrosity that came out on phones recently. So let's just have a look here. So pretty good options menu. You've got full screen, windowed, a decent array of resolutions. You've got VSync on or off resolution window. Could we please go away? Thank you. Gamma, possession FOV. We'll kind of explain this when we get into the game. I'm glad it's here because I have problems with the lower FOVs. They annoy me. Camera zoom, pixel light count, whatever that is. Screen space, ambient occlusion, anti-aliasing, anisotropic filtering, and variable texture res. So lots of options here for your machines. You've got separate volume sliders for everything. You've got subtitles, and you can put it in a wide variety of languages. So pretty much everything I was asking for. So let's talk about some bad in this game first. So as you can see right over here, it's in a constant state of evolution. Skirmish and multiplayer are having issues. So right now they're pretty much it's sort of up. It wasn't earlier, and you see right here it says placeholder multiplayer menu. So let's just look at the games real quick. So there's one game up right now. I could host a game if I want. It is buggy. If you go to the skirmish mode, there are 3 maps. You can see they're all 2-player maps, which is fairly pathetic. Sandbox, which is basically right what it tells you, an empty map and unlimited gold, mana, and sense, allowing you to relax and create the Dungeon of Darkest Dreams. And then, of course, there's the campaign. So it is a fully fleshed out campaign. I'll kind of touch on that a little later, but first let's jump into a skirmish map so I can talk a little bit about the good and the bad of Dungeon Keeper. So we'll go with Frontier. And provided the game doesn't hang on me, which it has done several times, we will launch a map. Alright, and I think we'll put the AI on easy for right now, just so I can have some time to kind of mess around. I want to be blue. I like blue. Blue is good. Start game. So here we are in War for the Overworld. So for those that aren't aware, Dungeon Keeper was an old school kind of an RTS that kind of flipped the genre conventions on its head by having you play as the bad guy, as it were, and the heroes are actually attempting to invade you. So you start off, you have your dungeon heart here, and this is basically your life force. If you lose this, then you're SOL, you lose the game. And I'm having my imps right here mine out rooms. You have to dig all your rooms out of the earth, and they work best if they're done in a 3x3 square, except for a few, which we'll touch on later. Now this right here is a gold shrine. Now you'll notice that it says prop shrine gold. This is something that one of the problems I do have with the game. Here is a gateway. I'll get minions through here, which is my units. So the first thing we want to do is build ourselves a, oh, I don't know. We'll build a lair and see if we can attract some monsters. In fact, I might just expand this room out a couple tiles in either direction. As you can see here, there's also some gold. We'll build ourselves a nice big lair. There we go. So this is a fully 3D game. You can pan the camera around. You can zoom in and out. You can tilt it up and down. And it's got some fairly nice texture work going on. You can see our imps right here. You can get in nice and close. They're all blue because I chose the color blue and I like it. So all the old Dungeon Keeper stuff is in here, along with some interesting new twists. They've added this. This is the Sin tab, and it's basically 4 really big tech trees. So I want to unlock the archive. They also have brought back the old announcer from Dungeon Keeper 1 and 2, which is just fantastic. We can also unlock the barracks, and we'll unlock the tavern, and then the foundry. So all of these are different things that I can build or use. I have various spells and constructs that I can use. So first, let's go ahead and finish expanding our lair. There we go. And I want to dig another room right here. So one interesting twist that this game puts on things is you kind of have to keep an eye on your gold, because the minions have to get paid in order to stay happy. Fortunately, we have this gold shrine right here. Now, of course, I don't really know what it does from reading game. I do actually know what it does, but because it doesn't tell you anything about it in the tooltips, you don't really know. And that's a problem that you'll see all throughout this current version of War for the Underworld. None of the tooltips work. There are no tooltips in this game, and it sorely needs them, because it doesn't tell you about some of the hidden little bonuses in the game or the way certain rooms actually work, and it's really something that I feel like they should have gotten in there before they launch the game. So now that we've gotten this up and running, let's go ahead and put in an archive and see if we can't attract some more monsters. You'll notice that gold is being left on the ground. There's a very simple reason for that, and that is because I don't have enough space to store it. So we'll just quickly dig out a room there, and we'll add another one back here. Now I'm going to build myself a little branching corridor here, and I'm going to put another room. Well, I can't right there. There's probably some impenetrable rock right there. So these cultists that I have attracted to my archive will come in and research additional sins for me. So at the end of each of these tech trees is a big monster. There is the Behemoth, the Archon, and the Eternal, who's apparently basically time. Always interesting. We can also build a lot of traps, portcullises, things like that. I think we'll start off by building the Blade Lotus.
Blade Lotus unlocked.
So they've added a lot of neat stuff by adding in these various traps. And I remember in the old games, one of the ways I always used to win was by spamming the crap out of the traps and just filling the whole dungeon up with just traps and making it impossible to get in. Now you can't do that in this one. Traps cost mana. Of course, another problem with the mana is that this up here doesn't always seem to tell me exactly exactly what my actual mana cost is. Now you can finally pick up gold. You can also do this. If we need more workers, I can summon a worker right here.
You are out of mana.
Now you see right there, I'm out of mana, but I apparently have 525 left, so it doesn't do a good job of telling you. You know, right now it says mana locked by workers. That was not in there when I first picked up the game, so they have added a little bit to tell you what's going on, but it's still a little obtuse, and I would appreciate it if it was not so obtuse. We're going to build another room right here. Now, one other thing you can do is take control of minions, and I do want to show this off because this is kind of important. So let's take our cultist here.
Your minions are complaining about censorship.
So you'll see here, I've got these abilities, but it doesn't really tell me what they do. There's no targeting crosshair, and the game drops frames like crazy when you go into this view. It looks great. You can see some really nice texture work, but there's just a lot of... It feels very stiff and very jittery, and I really would love to see this actually work better. Now, one other thing we need to build, and this is one of the rooms that I was talking about that'll kind of throw you off. Now, let's go ahead and show you is... So that's 3 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the tavern. So you have to feed your monsters. Your minions, rather. But this room in particular has to be a specific size and shape for it to work. Now we could also build a slaughter pen, and they could just go in there and kill piggies themselves, which is amusing and fun to watch. So let's look at the defenses. We can put in, let's say, a wooden door right here, and a Blade Lotus. Excuse me, before my mouse went bonkers. A Blade Lotus, let's say, there. So the imps will kind of work on those. We have another cultist coming in. I do like the monster design, minion design. They have some really interesting designs. They're basically all the same minions that you expect from the original Dungeon Keeper, but they are still really good designs. They had some great ideas in this game. It's just a shame to me that some of them don't seem to be executed as well as they could. I remember playing multiplayer in the beta, and it seemed to be okay. I'm assuming there's a very good reason that they didn't put it in, but I'm just not really all that sure why. So this is kind of a look at just the basic dungeon building. Let's hop out and take a look at the campaign and talk about some of the quibbles that I do have with that. So it is a fully fleshed out campaign. The only problem that I have with it is
great progress, Underlord.
Is that in a lot of ways it does feel like a really, really long tutorial. They've got some neat ideas in it, like, for example, global rituals that you have to do in order to short-circuit what the enemy is doing.
Welcome to the breach, Underlord.
But one thing the game likes to do right here is take over your camera. And it will do this not just for mission openings, but all the time.
Lord O'Theland is a vacuous sort who will throw his troops at your dungeon without strategy or order.
Oh, this is going to make me annoyed.
Think of no better time for you to learn how to build defenses for your dungeon.
So,
to do this, you first need a foundry.
So the voice acting is great.
Open the veins of evil and unlock it now.
I already have, thank you.
Build one now and your minions will be happy to create defenses for your dungeon.
There we go. There's a foundry. Now we just need to access the dungeon heart, wherever the hell it is. So one other thing that bugs me, just from a quality of life standpoint, is that clicking on the map doesn't jump you, it scrolls you, and it doesn't do so all that quickly sometimes.
You'll need an archive and cultists in order to research that artifact.
So we've got an artifact over here, and it just told us we have to get archives and cultists. There's a lot of stuff going on in this map. So this is a prop shrine perception. I feel like they rushed this game out. I feel like it wasn't quite ready yet. I feel like a lot of these tooltips shouldn't actually be here. And it's something that really kind of takes away from the overall experience of the game. And I like Dungeon Keeper, I really do. Could I recommend it right now? No. No, I could not, unless you really, really want to play Dungeon Keeper. Maybe once they get the multiplayer up and running and get some more skirmish maps in, then probably I could recommend it. But as it stands right now, I mean...
Your workers will continue to claim territory mindlessly. To prevent them from throwing their lives away, cast Impasse upon the flashing tile.
Yes, yes.
Each Impasse flag will create a 3x3 area that your workers will not claim. Use it to keep your expansion in check. And your workers alive.
Now see, I could have been doing something else right here, but I can't because it's got me locked to this view.
You've discovered a gold shrine. Tagging it will allow your workers to mine unlimited wealth for your dungeon.
So
if your coffers are full,
now it returns me to my view.
Wealth might change you. You can always untag it with a second click.
So we'll build a vault. So that's one of the things that kind of bugs me a little bit, is that it will do that. You can create warbands for your units, which is kind of interesting, but in typical Dungeon Keeper style, you don't really have a lot of control over your units. You simply place down a rally flag there, and your units will pile on. And fighting in Dungeon Keeper and in War for the Overworld basically comes down to who's got the most units or who's are leveled up the highest. And I do like the fact that you still have the option to go in and level them up. By making them train. You can slap them around. In fact, let's find an imp. See, you can pick him up, get a good look at the character model there. We'll drop him over here. So this area has a lot of empty space, a lot of room to expand, but also a lot of places that you would need to put traps. And they do a good job with the tutorials. I just feel like the tutorials are a little too long. So what are my final thoughts on Dungeon Keeper as we pan around my dungeon and watch my imps at work here? I feel like there's a lot of character to the game. There we go.
A Chunder has entered your dungeon. Attracted by the foundry, this gassy creature will joyfully launch the...
This is a great monster. I love the Chunder. Great design. And what it'll do in the foundry is awesome.
A few steps back.
So, they have some great designs for the monsters. They have some great ideas. It's clear that they really love Dungeon Keeper, and I'm really, really happy that this game exists. But
your minions' needs are not being
it
met,
needs
Underlord.
it needs work.
Build them the basic rooms they require.
It needs some patching. It just needs some things before it's fully.
Open the veins of evil and unlock the Blade Lotus.
Yes.
Blade Lotus unlocked.
It needs some work before it's really the game that it could be, and I think that soon it will be. But right now, I don't feel like it's where it needs to be. I don't feel like it's where we expected it to be, and I think that you really should just probably give War for the Overworld a little bit of a wait until they get some of the issues, especially multiplayer, fully up and running, and then I really think that this has the potential to be a fantastic game. It's something that we haven't seen recently in gaming, placing you as the anti-hero and having you fight the bad guys. It's done in an interesting way. It's got the same quirky, twisted sense of humor the old Dungeon Keeper had, and it's got a lot to recommend it, but it doesn't have enough for me to feel confident fully recommending it to you guys right now. Really, that's about all I could say about War for the Overworld right now. I love what's here, but I'm also disappointed in what's not here, and the placeholder text and the things that just make it feel like they weren't quite ready to give us this game. So guys, if you want to see more, please hit subscribe. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. My name is Dimebot. Later.